Hi, I'm Lisa Abernathy with your Rec Minute. Mark your calendars, the 22nd Annual Children's First Ice Cream Social is coming up on Sunday, May 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. in Wolf Park. This is a great family event, including exhibits from local groups and businesses, entertainment, and a kids' garage sale, and of course, ice cream. This event is free, so bring the family for some fun in the park on Sunday, May 17th.
On this week's Life in the Park, Scott checks out the long road of Highway 100. The Southwest LRT tab jumps to nearly $2 billion. Volunteer opportunities abound in the park, plus news you can use.
Welcome to this week's edition of Life in the Park. I'm Scott Smith. In our cover story, we'll take a look at the origins of the Beltline Highway from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But first, here's news you can use. As a result of concerns from city residents, MnDOT will postpone closing West Side Drive until further notice. The exit will be signed local businesses only, but there will not be barriers that prevent people from continuing south on the frontage road. The closure was a decision of the City of St. Louis Park and MnDOT made to deter motorists from using local streets to bypass slow-moving traffic on Highway 100 and to minimize congestion at the Highway 7 Wooddale interchange. MnDOT recently closed the Highway 7 ramp to northbound Highway 100. The ramp will be closed until fall 2016. Additionally, traffic was switched on Highway 100 between 36th Street West and Berry Street to the southbound side of the highway, with 2 lanes of traffic in each direction on one side of the highway. You can keep up to date with current construction updates at mndot.gov/metro/projects/Highway 100 SLP. Analysis released by the Metropolitan Council concludes that test results and project delays have increased the cost of the Southwest LRT project to $1.994 billion, a $341 million increase. The additional costs are primarily related to poor ground conditions along the Southwest LRT line and soil contamination in St. Louis Park and Hopkins. The council analysis also determined that the Southwest LRT project would not open until 2020 instead of late 2019. Adam Dunink, chairman of the Metropolitan Council, said he will be talking with funding partners, local communities, and legislative leaders to determine the future of the project. He stated all options are on the table. News of the project's price tag increase did not sit well with Governor Dayton, who stated he was shocked and appalled to learn that the staff at the Metropolitan Council had increased its estimate of the cost of the Southwest Rail Transit line. Dayton said in a written release, quote, "The continuing escalation of the costs to design and build this line raised serious questions about its viability and affordability. The full board of the Metropolitan Council should quickly review other options for providing much-needed public transit to this region of the metro area," end quote. You can follow this story and get the latest information online at swlrt.org. Well, say, join the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission of St. Louis Park for the 9th annual Minnehaha Creek Cleanup. That's on Saturday, May 2nd from 9 to 11 a.m. Gloves, waders, cleanup tools, and disposal bags will be provided. Dress for the weather and wear comfortable work clothes. If the weather is questionable, call the weather line at 952-924-2567. The rain date will be Sunday, May 3rd. Volunteers will meet at Isaac Walton Creekside Park, 7341 Oxford Street. And join in the Arbor Day and Community Tree Planting celebration Saturday, May 9th from 9 a.m. to noon at Bass Lake Preserve, 3535 Monterey Drive. Meet at the tennis courts, then gather to plant a ceremonial tree before breaking out into teams to plant lots more trees and other native plants in Bass Lake Preserve. The City of St. Louis Park is implementing a huge dredging and vegetative renovation to Bass Lake Preserve to help transform this wonderful asset. Hear environmentally inspired music by Kid Power with Rachel, an environmental theme show for the whole family at 10 a.m. It's all free, but free registration is required to plant trees. Simply register at www.treetrust.org. Kids can meet Woodsy Owl, Westwood Hills Nature Center naturalist, and a special guest. So come on, lend a hand and give back to the land. Still more volunteers are needed for the second Health in the Park, Park the Street event. Individuals are needed for a variety of positions. The event will take place on Sunday, June 7th from noon to 4 p.m. For more information, go to stlouispark.org/volunteering/parkthestreetevent.html. The St. Louis Park Home Remodeling Tour is on Sunday, May 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. This self-guided tour features 6 homes representing a variety of remodeling and expansion projects. Participants can see hands-on examples of home remodeling projects, speak with owners, and learn more about the city's home improvement programs. Visit stlouispark.org for home tour locations. Now to our cover story. Transportation is definitely a hot topic in the West Metro these days, as it was about 80 years ago in the 1930s. We'll take a look at the beginning of Highway 100 and then follow the road to the 21st century, looking at changes being made for tomorrow, well, next year anyway. As the westernmost portion of the Beltline, Highway 100 was wrested from the earth by unemployed men of the Depression in the 1930s as part of a joint project of the Minnesota Highway Department and the Works Progress Administration, or WPA. Its purpose was as much to provide work for desperately poor men as it was to provide a roadway that would circle or create a belt line around Minneapolis and St. Paul, much as the I-494, 694, 94 loop does today. In addition, it was designed as a destination in and of itself, dotted with roadside parks where families could pull off the road and have picnics. Odd as that seems today, there was much less traffic back then, and automobiles were used more for recreation and sightseeing than daily commutes. The idea of the Beltline was said to belong to Orville E. Johnson, Secretary of the Hennepin County Good Roads Association. The New Deal brought federal money for state highways, and St. Louis Park was the beneficiary of 2 large projects, Highway 100 and Highway 7. During the 1930s and 1940s, Highway 100 was planned to circle around the Twin Cities. Some of the links were to be constructed, and others, existing roadways, were renamed. Between 1934 and 1941, the western leg of 100 was completed between Highway 5 in Edina and Highway 52, now Highway 81, in Robbinsdale, a distance of 12.5 miles. This segment is all that remains of the Beltline as planned in the 1930s. The individual primarily responsible for the building of Highway 100 was Chief Engineer Carl Frederick Gracer. Acknowledged as the father of the Beltline in his newspaper obituary, he promoted the idea for such a road patterned after the German Autobahns. Central to Gracer's design were grade separations at major intersections and railroad crossings, cloverleaf connections, and the opportunity to provide numerous entries into Minneapolis via various urban arteries. The area was so deserted at that time that the first travelers worried about breaking down because there was virtually nothing by the side of the road and very few other cars. There are a couple of stories about Gracer that may or may not be true. One is that he got into an argument with a representative from Edina, and as a result, Edina got no roadside parks. Another is that he requested free water from St. Louis Park during construction but was refused, resulting in the elimination of a Highway 100 Excelsior Boulevard separation that had to wait 30 years. The project also included a series of roadside parks or picnic areas. St. Louis Park had 3 of these parks at Excelsior Boulevard, Minnetonka Boulevard, and Highway 7. The parks featured picnic tables, 2 beehive barbecues, rock gardens, and reflecting pools made of limestone quarried near the Mendota Bridge and built by unemployed masons. The only park remaining in St. Louis Park is the newly renamed Lilac Park, formerly called St. Louis Park Roadside Park. That's at Highway 7 near the Nordic Ware Tower. In 2008-2009, the Beehive was moved, the park structures restored, and the bike trail extended to reach the restored park. The new Lilac Way Park was dedicated on July 13, 2009.
1, 2, 3, 4! All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a great night.
By the mid-1960s, the radial Highway 100 Beltline had been substantially replaced in function by Interstate Highways 94, 694, and 494. In the Lilac Way corridor itself, new lanes, bridges, and center medians were added in the 1960s and 1970s. In 2006, the remaining 2-lane section of 100 between 36th Street and 394 was creating a huge bottleneck but money to widen the highway wasn't available until 2014. A stopgap solution was started in June whereby the state relined the road to make 3 lanes out of 2. The long-delayed expansion of Highway 100 at Minnetonka Boulevard and Highway 7 is currently underway and will be finished in 2016 at a cost of $60 million. The so-called full build project will replace the bridges over Highway 100 at Minnetonka Boulevard and Highway 7, as well as 2 railroad bridges. Now, Highway 100 will carry vehicles in 6 lanes well into the future. TPT2 has a great documentary on the origins of Highway 100, produced in 2001. It's available at tpt.org. In the search box, type in Highway 100 Lilac Drive. Next week, Park TV's John McHugh takes us to Susan Lindgren Elementary School for an excursion into interpretive dance. Much more advanced than when I went to school here in the park. We learned to square dance the Virginia Reel, Alaman left and a do-si-do. So you can keep up to date on news and events in the park by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/St. Louis Park. So that's it for this edition of Life in the Park. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Park TV.
Hi, I'm Lisa Abernathy with your Rec Minute. Do you have a son or daughter ages 12 to 15 looking for a volunteer experience this summer? Have them get it in the park at one of our summer playgrounds. Spring is the time when we begin taking junior leader applications for our summer playground program. We are looking for youth ages 12 to 15 who are interested in gaining job and leadership experience while assisting our playground leaders at the playgrounds this summer. Applications can be found on the city's website under the volunteer section. This is a great opportunity for those looking at being employed with us as a future playground leader or just experience working with youth. Applications will be taken until Friday, May 29th, so apply today.